Captures wonderfully those tender and awkward sort of silences of young love, and also the loneliness of the long distance relationship. And I don't know whether it was, you know, Ben and Drake's script that grabbed you, whether you felt there was something in Anna that you could relate to, or were there certain elements that hooked you here?
Yeah, I think a combination really. When I read the script really quickly in one sitting, which is always a good sign. And then I loved the tone of the film and the style it was going to be shot. I spoke to Drake after I read it and just said, this is amazing, I'd love to do this. And we talked about the kind of films we liked, and that very naturalistic style was something I was keen to experiment with. And
were there movies like Why Tu Mama Tambien has been mentioned, but I don't know whether other movies that sort of fell into your radar. I don't know whether, I was thinking of Rachel getting married maybe, or I don't know if there's certain things that...
Yeah, one of the initial inspirations was Breaking the Waves, just for the style of performance, that it's very raw and very immediate.
I know that Drake sort of encouraged the improvisational side of it. I don't know whether that was liberating, whether sometimes it was terrifying, just not knowing exactly where you were going to go in a scene.
It was pretty terrifying, especially as I met Anton on the first day of rehearsal, so I hadn't actually met him before we knew we were about to embark on this bizarre relationship journey. But luckily he was great and we clicked straight away. But it was a combination of being petrified, but then once you get into it and we all worked out how we all worked, then it was a lot more straightforward.
I know it was a major hit at Sundance. It won the Grand Jury Prize for Dramatic Film. You won the Special Jury Prize for Actor in a Dramatic Film. And I don't know whether all of that kind of caught you by surprise, or whether you had a feeling in your bones that this is something a little bit different or special.
No, well, we made it in very much a bubble, really. We didn't have any expectations. We just wanted to make something that, the kind of film that we would like to see, and then to have it received in that way was incredible.
Well, and I love the fact that on the Saturday night when it screened, there was a great reaction to it, and the reviews have been very strong, but almost immediately there was a sort of a bidding war. I think it went on for 16 hours, it was an all-nighter, and beautiful people like Harvey Weinstein sort of looming in the background. I don't know whether you were part of that, or whether Drake was sort of off in a room somewhere having to deal with all this crazy...
They were off in a room on the main street in the town where Sundance is held, and then I was back. We rented a chalet for the week. And none of us, we were all just waiting to hear what had happened. So I didn't sleep for 3 nights while Sundance was happening, because it was just too exciting.
I think it takes a fair set of testicles to plot a film where, you know, two star-crossed young lovers are not, you know, there's no kind of warring family, there's no iceberg heading their way. There's a student visa violation that's keeping them apart. And for that sort of slight sort of, you know, plot of a kind of to hook it on, I thought that was very brave. I thought it was a kind of an interesting way to go for it, because most people want the drama of a big problem.
But that's what I loved about it when I read it. It's just about character, and it's about people, and there's no kind of big, you know, there's no sort of earthquake or anything happening. It's just very simple, and I think that's the key to Drake's style, is that he immediately brings the audience in, so you know to look out for the subtleties. I mean, right from the beginning, you're aware that you've got to watch this film closely.
And with something like this, when you get into this world, I'm sure with Drake and he's the guy who wrote it with him, Ben, they would have to examine all the possibilities of what goes through. Once you start doubting love and you start questioning what the bond is and all that, would that have affected you in any way? Because you're one of those rare breeds of actors who's in a long-term relationship when normally this business just tends to breed a certain nomadic lifestyle that doesn't.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether it made you sort of even dwell on how relationships work and why they don't work and why they do work.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the first week we all talked about our own experiences and wanted to bring aspects of that to the work, but then we had to find something new in the relationship between Anna and Jacob, because they have a particular relationship that's peculiar to those characters. But it's the kind of project where you do, obviously, you bring in your own life to some extent.
Now, you didn't feel any wobble in your own kind of personal beliefs?
No. I think it's just more cathartic in a way. It's a way of exploring and understanding relationships rather than being detrimental to them.
I know that this gets released in the States on October 23rd. It isn't out in Ireland and the UK until February 3rd. But I guess the deadline and the feeling that it's going to be valid for a lot of the awards, Golden Globes and Oscars and all that, would that be something that you and Drake and the others would even dare talk about now? No. Because it's already got a good reception?
Yeah, I think that was never in our, you know, orbit at all when we were making it, and then it's so surreal when people start saying those, you know, start talking about awards. I mean, it would be incredible, but it is obviously a bonus.
You're a very busy woman. I know you're currently filming another film with the beautiful Drake, but also just currently Albatross and Chalet Girl are out this year, but you're coming our way, page 8, Hysteria and Cheerful Weather for the wedding. And I don't know whether this is a feeling of, you must be almost going from set to set. Is there a feeling, well, this is a great opportunity, there's loads of good scripts that I like, but you know, might as well do them while I can, like whether it's there on the table.
Yeah, I've just been fortunate because I didn't go to drama school, so I've learned from being on film sets, and I've had such great experience in doing independent films, and it's just about the character. If you respond to something and you feel you've got to do it, then you've got to do it.
Well, that early thing of, I know your parents were enthusiastic when you were young to get into acting, and you have an uncle, I think Michael Hadley is an actor, and you did a course when you were 11, Central Television kind of sponsored a course in acting. Was it something that you were kind of enthusiastic, or was it just something that you might work out, or that you just thought might be something?
No, it was just very instinctive. I just loved doing it. I've always, naturally, with my friends when we were growing up, you know, we'd be dancing around our garden and dressing up and putting on plays and things like that. It's always just been a part of my life, but it wasn't until really I was a bit older that I had the guts in a way to admit to myself that, you know, I want to do this and I've got to take the risk. And so after I went to university and then I left, and I just thought, I've just got to give it a go, and if it doesn't work out, I'll do something else, but I've got to take the plunge.
I suppose very quickly at the end, just your first, I know you've been acting for quite a while, but for me, you came to notice through the movies, and with Flashbacks of a Fool, and with Soul Boy, and with Cemetery Junction, it sort of, you became, in my mind, you know, when there's a 70s flashback, that's the girl who's going to be in that dream, and I don't know whether that was something that you noticed, or what is I kind of seem to sort of, you know, fall into an ideal for certain maybe filmmakers, or whether that was just coincidental that the 3 films almost in a row that you became this beautiful
70s.
pin-up. So if I have a flashback myself, I'm just wondering if you'd be available just to appear at some point.
Yeah, anytime. Yeah, I went through a period where I thought I was going to be stuck in the past, but luckily I've clambered out.
And the last thing is, your face of Burberry. You're obviously, like me, a very good-looking person. How does that kind of, is it easy to hold on to your ego in this business when it is part of your you know, image that you would be known to be very beautiful? So I don't know if that messes with you at all.
I think as long as you can go home and at the end of the day, like, take everything, you know, take all the makeup off and just step back from it all. As long as you can retain that balance, then I think it should be fine.
That's how I live. Makeup off.
Yeah,
I feel so fresh
take the wig off.
Yeah. Lovely to talk to you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Have you ever made it over to